periodicum. That
I have
sounds
no
a
idea.
lot cooler. But it's period, I, as in just the letter, and then comb, like chrome without an R.
That's how I was going to describe
We'll
it.
share it
Yeah.
somewhere. Yeah.
I was looking through his stuff, and then I immediately sent him, I just got a tattoo of a T-Rex. Did I talk about this?
Yeah, you've shared that, but you can share it again.
So I got a tattoo of a T-Rex skull on my foot, and he made a T-Rex skull out of wood, and I was like, oh my god, I'm obsessed.
Yeah, he does like woodworking and printing.
It's super cool.
Like
So check him out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Christian, for the gifts.
Yes. So like I said, kind of a hometown for you. Mm-hmm. So on May 19th, 1977, 20-year-old Colleen Stan was trying to hitchhike from Eugene, Oregon to Northern California to go see her friend for her birthday.
Yo, do not hitchhike on the I-5. Number one life hack or something. Yeah. Don't hitchhike on the I-5.
Well, don't hitchhike, period, anymore.
Well, the I-5 just... Ooh,
is that a
so
scary?
much. It's just the freeway that goes from... It goes from Canada to down to Mexico.
Oh.
So it lines kind of with the mountains there.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Okay.
So much happens on the I-5.
So she made it all the way to Red Bluff, California from different people, which is about 5 hours away from Eugene. Mm-hmm. And then so I don't know where she was, but wherever she was, a blue van pulled up next to her in Red Bluff where she was hitchhiking, driven by a young man. His wife was in the passenger seat, and there was a baby in the back seat. Because of this, Colleen felt super safe, and she accepted a ride from the family.
I would have gone in.
Yeah.
And me now probably would have gone in.
Yeah. And this, don't fucking get in a car, even if there's a baby and a wife.
Well, and also this is in the 70s, so it's like hitchhiking, especially if there's a baby and a wife. Like, hitchhiking was widely accepted in the 70s, but, like, with that, too.
I was actually, when I was in, I think I was in elementary school. Because I was in the car with my babysitter, and she had her baby in the car.
Yeah.
And it was Alaska. It wasn't quite winter, but it was like colder outside. And I'll never forget this because like there was a young girl like walking home with a backpack, and it was cold, and my babysitter pulled over and offered her a ride, and the girl got in, and I bet she felt safe because I was in the car and the baby. But I remember, and I was a kid and I didn't think of anything of it, but I remember when we pulled up to the house to drop her off, her dad ran outside, and I could just see him screaming at her I get it though, even though she made it safe because it was me, the babysitter. You can't do that.
Yeah. I've taken a ride from a stranger twice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, thank God.
Yeah.
When I did it, I took a ride from someone who had the back of a pickup, and I got in the back.
Oh.
And it was, like, not covered.
Yeah.
So I got in the pickup back and just lie down.
Yeah. So the driver even stopped at a gas station shortly after to let Colleen out to use the bathroom. And this part kind of goes back to the premonition or the gut feeling we've been talking about. Yeah. So Colleen said when she went in to use the bathroom, there was just something... When she got out of the car at the gas station, she just felt really uneasy. And she was like, I shouldn't get back in the car. She didn't know why because it was a family, but there's something telling her not to get back in the car. But she pushed it away and she got back in the car. Right? You don't have to know why. No. Just follow your gut. Follow your gut. Follow your gut. Follow your gut. Follow your gut.
It's so hard, though. It's so hard.
Okay, so I'm going to backtrack a minute. The driver of the car was 23-year-old Cameron Hooker, along with his 19-year-old wife, Janice, and their 8-month-old daughter, who was in the back seat. Aww. We'll later learn, and I'm just going to say now, they had actually been driving around specifically looking for a hitchhiker to kidnap.
Ew!
For the purpose for Cameron to rape and keep as a sex slave. His wife went along with it because he had been using her for this to fulfill all his fantasies, and she didn't want him to take it out on her anymore, so she was okay with them finding a girl to kidnap, so he didn't abuse her anymore.
Wow.
I know. I'd never heard of this case either.
Which is weird because nowadays you can, like, this is not a sex slave, it's consensual, but you can, like, find people to, like, be that person for you, like, on Tinder.
I'm sure you could back then, too, but yeah.
Yeah, but you do not have to kidnap someone to find that.
But sometimes, if you're in a super fucked up person like him, that was part of the fantasy, like.
And it's hard because you can blame her, but also not blame her, because you're like, I get it, but also no, you can't be an accomplice to a kidnapping.
Right, and for someone like him, like a true psychopath, finding someone like on Tinder wouldn't be good enough. No. He truly wanted someone
fear factor.
Yeah, he didn't want it to be consensual. So about 30 minutes after the gas station stop, Cameron pulled the van off the main road, went to a remote area. He put a knife to Colleen's throat. He forced her head, and I don't think we'll post... Oh, we can post a picture of this, but I'll describe it.
Okay.
He put a knife to her throat, and he forced her head into this wooden box. So essentially, it was a wooden box with, like, a hinge, so one side opened. Oh. There was just a hole at the bottom that her head... So he put a wooden box over her head with just, like, the... So think of a wooden box, but with only 5 sides at count. Yeah. So the bottom had a circle that her neck fit through. So he put it through, but... So it constricted her air. Like, she couldn't see. It didn't have a hole for her eyes or anything.
And it was wooden? How painful.
Yes, it was made of wood.
If that photo exists, too, and it's a little too iffy for Instagram, we might put it on our Patreon page.
Well, it's just a picture of the box. It's not with her head or anything.
We can post. We'll post that on Instagram.
It's just a picture of the box.
I don't want to post anything that's embarrassing to
victims.
No.
And it's not with her. It's just But this show, like... This is why they were driving around looking for someone, because they had this handmade box in their car ready to put on someone's head.
That's horrifying.
Yep.
They should be ashamed.
Yep. Moral of today, don't get in the car with anyone. Mm-hmm. Anyone.
Not that it's Colleen's fault. By
No. Yeah, no, but I don't mean... Yeah,
we're meaning that aside from that. Yeah, no, I know you didn't mean that, but I want to make sure everyone else knows.
Yeah. No, absolutely. None of this is her fault. You should be able to get in the car with fucking anyone, but you can't because people are evil.
Yep.
They put her head in this box that they brought with them. The box blocked out all sound and light and restricted airflow. Like I said, it was hinged. This box weighed 20 pounds.
Did she have to support it with her body? Or was she, like, bent over? We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Then he put her back in the car and continued to the family's home.
Either way, that sucks.
Colleen was led into the home and downstairs into the cellar, where she would spend the next 7 years of her life.
Oh, my God. How do I not know this?
Yeah, I'd never heard this either.
Wow.
She was beaten. She was hung upside down and tortured. She was electrocuted, burned, and whipped. He literally would hang her upside down, electrocute, and whip her.
Oh, so he was a sadist or something?
Yeah. Initially, Cameron and his wife had an agreement that he was only allowed to use Colleen for bondage abuse, and he wasn't allowed to have sex with her. Oh. So they would beat her, or he would beat her, and then they would have sex and make her watch after beating and torturing her. So that was the deal he had with his wife.
I mean, I guess that's better for Colleen, because nobody wants to have sex with him, but, like...
Yeah, but then Cameron changed his mind, and he included rape during his torture, so he started raping her in addition to all of this. Colleen was forced to sleep in a wooden crate made by Cameron. It wasn't large enough for her to lay down, so she had to sleep sitting up while chained inside this box.
This reminds me of the Cleveland kidnappings of the 3 girls, Michelle Knight and Amanda Berry and...
Yes.
Jesus. Yeah, by Castro. The type of torture is similar. Yeah, if you guys haven't read their autobiographies, there's a few of them. They're all very good. I listened to the audiobooks for all of them.
And this is about to get even crazier, if you can imagine. So eventually the couple moves out of their home into a mobile home. Mm-hmm. So they no longer have a cellar to keep Colleen in. So Cameron made a larger box about the size of a coffin, which I can't imagine you're laying in something that feels like a coffin.
That's very small. And that's the larger box.
Yes, but it's enough for her to lay down at least. But they place it under their waterbed. So she spends almost 23 hours a day in this box. They literally put her in this box, slide it under their waterbed, and they only let her out to beat and torture her or...
To the bathroom?
No, not very often.
Oh my God.
So they had the baby, but they ended up having another kid, so they would also let her out to babysit their children. So they started to gain, just because they'd abused her so much, she started to gain their trust because she never tried to run away.
Also, I'd rather, if my choice was between crapping myself in the small box under the bed or watching the kids, can I please come out? Yeah. I'd like to watch her kids all the time.
Yeah. And so on top of that, part of the reason she never tried to escape, Colleen said, and this is in an interview, that the rape and torture weren't actually the worst part of everything. Wow. Cameron, remember, she was young. She was a teenager. So Cameron convinced her that he was a member of a satanic organization called The Company, and that the company was watching her, that they were watching her and her family, and they had her family's house bugged. So she feared that any attempt at an escape would be the death of her family.
From the company.
Yeah.
Very clever name.
Yeah. She even signed a contract agreeing that she was their slave, and she would state, like, that she was doing this willingly.
That would never hold up in court.
No, I know, but, like, they got her
But it made her think it would.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's like, well, I can't escape because I signed it.
Yeah.
And even as an adult, you might think that would hold up in court, but it wouldn't. Yeah.
Okay, it's going to get crazier in a minute.
What? Okay.
Sorry.
2 burpees. Everyone in the room.
because she complied with all of their wishes, she babysat their kids, Cameron started to allow her more freedom. He slowly let her outside to work in the garden, and he even let her outside to take walks. But she never tried to escape because she was terrified her family would be killed. He even fucking let her visit her family.
What?
So, March 1981, after more than 3 years of her, after she was kidnapped, he let her visit her family, and he went with her as her boyfriend. There's even a photo that we will post. Her family took a picture of the two of the quote-unquote lovebirds. They thought they were a couple.
They thought she ran off with a lovebird or something. Yep. Oh my God.
He fucking let her visit her family.
That's weird. Well, not that this makes it any better, but, like, he obviously, like, cared about her in some way.
He did, and I'll talk about that, yeah.
Which I hate that because...
I know.
I just hate that.
Yeah. But. So her family had no idea she was being held captive. They actually say later that they kind of thought she was in, like, a cult. But they didn't want to push her for information because they thought if they pushed her, they'd never see her again.
Is that crazy how much the times influence your narrative?
Yeah.
Like, of course, in the 70s.
They thought it was a cult.
Or early 80s. Yeah.
They thought it was a cult. But there's this creepy picture of that, and they're like, they look like a couple.
Ew. She must... Well, maybe they're feeding her more by this point.
Yeah.
But... It sounds like the abuse was worse in the beginning and then maybe lightened up.
Yeah, and so I'll talk about that. So, well, actually, a good segue. So after 7 years, Cameron actually told his wife that he wanted Colleen to be his second wife. He had fallen in love with her.
Oh, ew.
But, and this is where it gets really crazy, his wife didn't like that.
Well, yeah, of course not.
Right. And because of this, Janice wanted to help Colleen escape. And it's kind of for the wrong reason, but still good. Janice was basically pissed that he was in love with Colleen. So Janice went to Colleen when Cameron wasn't around, and she told Colleen that the company was made up, that no one was watching her family, and that she was going to help her escape.
And did Colleen want to escape, or was she...
she wanted... Oh, yeah, she wanted to. No, she wanted to. So Janice helped her escape. She took her to a bus station and gave her money and let her go.
Sweet.
But Janice told Colleen not to tell anyone, telling her that if she told anyone, Cameron would come after her, and also because she was convinced her husband could change. And so I think Colleen didn't tell anyone, so I don't know if she had developed feelings or what, but Janice was like, don't tell anyone, he'll come after you, but I think he can change, he'll be a better man.
Yeah, just give him a chance.
So for whatever reason, Colleen didn't tell anyone. When Janice realized that he wasn't going to change, she went to police, turned him in, and confessed to everything.
Did she get in a well, I guess we'll find out.
I'll tell you, yeah.
Yeah, I would say, like, I'm glad that she did that, but she's not innocent in this either.
Right.
And I get that she was abused too, but, like...
But she also only turned him in when he was like, I want her to be my wife.
Yeah, and then
she was
she's like, I'm jealous.
Right.
Like, but also she's been an abused victim too.
It's so crazy to know how to feel about this.
Yeah, I do not envy some judges and prosecutors. Because where's the line?
Well, I'll tell you what, yeah. So
I guess they had the job to decide, not me.
Yeah. So like I said, Colleen didn't tell anyone until months later when Cameron was arrested on November 18th, 1984. So, like, fucking years after she was kidnapped. Cameron Hooker was charged with sexual assault and kidnapping. His wife testified against him, and she actually received full immunity. So she was never charged for anything, and she got full immunity.
Well, she has a chance. It seems like she didn't really enjoy she didn't get pleasure from the kidnapping.
Yeah.
She just
and she was 19, so I keep going back to that, too. She was young, too.
When you're
and she
19,
had a baby
you're
and
submissive.
Yeah, and she had a baby.
19 is young.
Yeah. Cameron Hooker was sentenced to 104 years.
Good.
Back in 2015, he was denied parole.
Good.
He will be eligible for parole again in 2030.
He won't get it.
In 2030. Yeah, he gets I wrote this later, he gets the never let the bitch out stamp.
Yeah, he does.
So we haven't used that stamp in a while, but he gets it.
He gets it. We should make a list, a burn book.
Oh my god, yes! Yes, let's do it. I'm so excited. Colleen obviously had years of mental and physical recovery ahead of her.
Yeah.
She had chronic shoulder and back pain from being in the box.
Oh, yeah.
Like chronic pain because for years she had to sleep sitting up, like she
on wood and stuff, and in chains.
Yeah, so not like a lot of things.
Well, hung upside down, that has to do something.
She eventually married, and she had a daughter of her own. And she is part of an organization that helps abused women, and she now has a degree in accounting and, is living a normal life and has a daughter. And the interview was when it was around the time he was up for parole from 2015. Mm-hmm. And part of the reason he was saying he wanted parole was he was getting old and he was sick. And she was kind of like, I don't know what his life is like now, but he is not some feeble man. Like, he cannot.
He'll be fine.
Yeah.
He didn't sleep in a box for 7 years. I did. He's going to be fine.
And she's since changed her name, as has Janice Hooker. They've both changed their name. They're living new lives. So, side note, police actually aren't sure. They're not convinced that this was Cameron's first kidnapping. When his wife confessed everything, she told police that he had kidnapped and murdered another woman in 1976. 19-year-old